So my name is Eimear McBride with the Institute of Banking. So some of you are familiar with us and some of you maybe not. So what I'll do today is I'll give a very quick overview of the Institute, who we are, what we do, why we do it. I'm going to show you a quick video from the voice of our students, because what I found is that it's very easy for me to tell you what the Institute does and what it's about, but it's much more impactful actually when you hear it from our students. So we had a short video from our graduation last year, which will kind of give you an insight of what the experience is. So I'm the head of digital and innovation with the Institute, and over the summer we conducted a series of research in the industry about the digital skills. So I'll tell you a little bit about that, and then I'll give you a short overview of our programs. If you have any questions then at the end, you can ask me, or as we go through as well. It'll be a fairly informal presentation, so if you do have any questions, or if I'm not being clear on something, please do let me know. Does that sound okay to everybody? Great. So the Institute is a professional education institute in Ireland. We operate across the island of Ireland and also internationally as well. We've about 10,000 students in an academic year studying with us, and the majority of students are all part-time, so they're working in the financial services sector and across the board, being in both traditional retail banking, in funds, and also in emerging fintech companies as well. So we're a recognised college of UCD, so all of our accredited programs are a UCD program, and we're also a membership body. So when you finish studying with us, you stay a member with us. We have about 34,000 members again across the sector. Our faculty are all associate faculty, so essentially what that means is that they're industry. So it's a mixture of those who are working in industry, those who have academic experience. So it means that the programs are very fit for purpose for those that need to upskill, particularly in the financial services sector. Is that okay? So I'm going to show you now a very quick video. Hopefully it works.
The reason I went back to the Institute to further my education really was because I graduated way back in 1992 over in the United States in a place called Eimear College. And I just thought that at this stage of my career now that I might need to go back to education. It's been quite a long gap. So the Institute was ideal for me. I mean, I saw a course that was right up my alley, something that was going to be very relevant to what I do with the applied alternatives area. So I decided to sign for the course, and I'm very happy that I did.
My journey with the Institute evolved over a number of years, where I started with some foundation type courses, evolving into the professional banker certification, and then enlisting for the financial services degree, which was probably a 2.5-year program.
So I started with the Institute in 2014, did my QFA, claimed that in 2015. It seemed natural enough to go on and progress to the professional banker. I already had a bachelor's degree from UCD, so I did the professional banker, learned so much from it, really enjoyed it. I went organically in then to the chartered banker, and then following that, the graduate diploma in financial services and the master's.
It helps to have some kind of a degree, diploma, certificate to progress your career. Not only that, I found the course very interesting. There was a lot of things I would have taken for granted in my role at work, which I now understand why certain things are done a certain way. So even the whole compliance side was very interesting.
Certainly got great support from my family at home and from my colleagues at work who actually undertake the program. One of the satisfactions that I got out of actually doing the program, pushing myself beyond those boundaries and to achieve specific milestones.
It's been very helpful in prospects, career prospects. Also, it was flexible as I have a 20-year-old daughter. It made it very easy to study at home the last couple of years while she was growing up, as opposed to attending college full time. And I was able to continue working also. So it was very flexible and very helpful.
I remember I'm actually living in Trinity, County Kerry, and I was transitioning between cars, and I had to drive my son's Opel Corsa a 1 litre car from Tralee up to UCD for a lecture here at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we had a combination of breakdowns and oil lights flashing. I eventually got here at about 11 o'clock, you know. But I can look back on those memories now and feel that today, days like today make it all worthwhile.
Yes, I have my parents just over here, my boyfriend, so this is our third time out to UCD. I think particularly with the level 9 master, there's so much in it that you can apply to your daily job, or even outside of your job, what you're doing on a daily, weekly basis. I think I really want to apply what I've learned so far, and then following that, I can see myself coming back to the IB. I'm definitely going through this process once more.
Based on my qualification in Masters in Financial Services, I was able to get a job and a better position because of that. I've been able to sit down and talk to other people concerning people that want to embark on this program. I will give them my experience and I will give them something that will encourage them to go ahead and do it. Great teachers, very great and diverse experience, and mixing with people from different backgrounds, different careers. It's been great. I actually don't know how to say, but it's been absolutely great. And again, I would say it's something that I would want anyone who can to take on, because it would make great impact in your career, in your life. It will boost your confidence, definitely. And it is an absolutely amazing thing at the Institute.
So that's just a quick video from our graduation, as I said. Just to sense check very quickly, does it bring the experience a bit more to life when you do hear it from a student rather than me? I see a few nods, so that's good. So I will continue to keep on showing it. But it's for whatever education journey you decide to go on, it is actually important to think about the end, because it is hard. It doesn't matter if you're doing it full time or part time. It's a very difficult journey to do at times. So when you're in the middle of assignments, you're in the middle of preparing for exams, you're trying to juggle kids, a job, whatever it is, it's important to keep that what's it for and why am I doing it, and to keep that almost the vision of the graduation at the end. It is very helpful. So what I'll do is I'll tell you a little bit about the Institute's digital position now at the moment. Before I do, I'll give you a little bit of background in terms of the context of what's happening, particularly in financial services, but it's actually globally as well. So has anybody heard of a concept called Moore's Law? You mightn't have. So basically, it's, to put it very simply, what it is that it's a theory that the cost and ability to produce chips and the technology behind everything that we do will get both cheaper and it will be quicker to do every 18 months, right? That's essentially it. So because of that law has proven to be correct, although how it looks in the future is different, but what it basically means is that the rate of which technology is growing and how cost effective it is to access means that there's huge digital changes in the industry and in any industry now. Very simple way of putting it is the technology that you have in your smartphone was roughly the same technology that was used to put Neil Armstrong on the moon. So that's the level of growth that we're talking about. In terms of what's happening, there's a framework that talks about the wave of digital technologies, which is social. So, and I don't just mean Twitter and Instagram or LinkedIn, it's actually how we are using technologies. So we're using it in a social way. Obviously the advent of the mobile and the smartphone, how quickly that is happening is playing a huge impact on what digital means in financial services. Analytics is a huge wave at the moment, so the amount of data that exists, how do we and how do the professionals of the future know how to use it, know how to harness it, and importantly know how to use it correctly in a safe way that protects the consumer at the end. And then cloud as well. So you you might hear the phrase everything's in the cloud. Rather than having a big technical infrastructure of servers behind you, you now have the ability, like I have a 99-cent a month Apple Cloud plug-in that allows me to just put everything up into a storage space that would have cost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds a couple of years ago. So all of that change is fueling a lot of change in the financial services sector. So I won't go into that in much more detail, but I'll talk about a little bit of research that we did over the summer. So we asked, across our 34,000 members, we asked people to kind of let us know how they were feeling about digital change. So did they feel confident in it? How do they feel compared to their colleagues in their own place of work? And then how do they feel by comparison to colleagues across the sector? And then how do they feel compared to those who are digital natives, those who might have grown up with technology as well? And I won't go into the level of detail that I normally do, because I'm told that once I get started on it I can go on a little bit too much into it, but I'll give you just a quick high-level overview of those. So what we know in terms of education as well, so about 1/3 of the industry, of the financial services sector, have undertaken digital education and training in the last 2 years, and a huge 3/4 of them are intending on doing something over the next 2 years as well, which is huge in an area that is also very regulatory heavy, and there's a lot of culture training as well. So it's great to see that level of thought going into those who want to upskill into it. This stat is huge. So 91% of the industry think that digital skills are important now, and then that goes up to 95% think that it's important in 3 years' time, and particularly for future employment as well. So in terms of the confidence level then, this was a little less positive, I suppose. So 1 in 10 of the respondents had very strong confidence in their own digital skills. That went down, so that was 3 in 10 thought that they were either fairly strong or very strong, where 5 in 10, so 50% of those in financial services think that they have better confidence skills. So when you look at it overall, that's 8 in 10 that have either fair, very, or very strong. But obviously over the next few years, we want to push that fair into the very or very strong as well. And then there's 37% think that they're essentially equipped to compete for new digital roles as well. So again, we in the Institute are hoping that we can support the industry, because that's what we're here to do, to be able to increase that confidence level. So in terms of what the skills are, and I won't go into the level of detail on this, but what the main skills are agile thinking, the design and management of customer engagement across channels. So that's be it whether somebody goes into a branch, or somebody goes on the phone, or somebody goes via an app. So it's being able to manage those customer experiences coherently. And then digital strategy and open business, and digital infrastructure, which is also quite low in terms of confidence level there. So the main skills that they see in terms of priorities for future roles are customer engagement, channel management, and agile thinking, and they're very, very, very clear priorities. So I won't go into any much more detail on the research. Hopefully you found that somewhat interesting, but if you do want to read more about it, if you go on to iob.ie/digital, it's all available there. We have more information here as well. So if you do want to not buy the stand, absolutely do. I'll tell you very quickly, I think I'm also running short on time, so I'll just tell you very quickly about the programs that we offer in this space. So at level 7, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with the National Framework of Qualifications. So we're a university, so we run programs at level 7, which is kind of first year undergraduate degree, level 8, which is undergraduate degree level, and then level 9, which is postgraduate. So across our digital portfolio, we have offerings across all of those levels. In terms, if you're thinking about it from a career perspective, those that are kind of early career stage, typically would undertake a level 7. Mid-career would be more in the level 8, and then those who are either leaders or emerging leaders or want to be in the future would look at a level 9. So that's a more simple way of thinking about it as well. So the areas that we have programs in are data analytics at level 7 and banking operations and digital. So the data analytics one at level 7 is quite cool in that you get a chance to play around with some of the visualization tools that are there. So we go through kind of the context of what's happening in financial services now. Then you get a kind of an introduction into data analytics. So you look at the statistical modelling, very simple statistical stuff. And then in the applications of it, you get into the software around visualization. So you look at RapidMiner and things like that as well. So it's a quite a practical and hands-on program. In terms of, we have 3 new programs that are starting in September. And they're at the level 8 and the level 9 side. So I'll flick through those very quickly to give you an idea about what they are. So the level 8 is around digital product strategy. So every financial services product that there is essentially a digital product. It doesn't matter if you buy it in a branch or you buy it over the phone. As soon as it enters a system, it's a digital product. So what this does is gives students the full sense of the product. So what happens from a customer side, what happens from a regulatory side, what happens from a risk side, what happens from a marketing side, and how all of those functions fit together with one digital product. And I'm not sure how familiar you are with financial services, so a bank would have tens and tens of products, and when you go into a funds company, you're looking at hundreds there. So there's a lot of products there and a lot of different people working together to service them, to design them and to improve them. So what this program does is to give you an overall view of the end-to-end financial services product essentially. We have 2 then at level 9, which is digital transformation and data analytics. I'll actually talk about them both together, both in the interest of time, but also because they're structured very similarly. So module 1 in both programs looks at strategy and culture. So what do you need to create a transformation strategy or a transformation culture? And similarly, how do you create a data analytics mindset within a team or a function or an enterprise? Module 2 then looks at the operating model, so you know what your strategy is, you're going to start working on your culture, so then what you need to do to make sure that works. So what's your operating model behind it? For data and analytics, that's kind of the data engineering in terms of the structure of the data, the governance of it, and for transformation, it looks at your people, processes, and technology. And then module 3 in both goes into, so you know what you want to do, you now know how you do it, and module 3 is what are you actually going to do with it for business success. So that's the structure of those 3 modules. I won't go into greater detail again in the interest of time, but there is a stand over, I don't know if you've seen the Institute of Banking stand over there, with a lot more detail on both the digital programs and the rest of our offering as well. And we do also, we are heavily involved in the fund side as well, so have programs in the area of complex financial instruments, the broader investment fund services sector, leadership, risk and compliance, and financial planning and financial advice as well.